If you've ever wished for a digital media platform where your own posts get 50 likes in the span of an entire year, but a Tung 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 Sahur cookie gets 50,000 times that amount?
Tung 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 sahur.
Well, if you've got Instagram on your phone, wish no further, it already exists. It's an app that everyone knows and loves to waste their time on, whether that be 5 minutes or an entire night scrolling RLCS highlights. But beyond that, Instagram has become one of the most influential social media platforms of the modern day, and for industries like esports, this is incredibly important, and it's something where visibility and engagement is key. So in this video, I'm going to critically evaluate Instagram. We'll be looking at how it was developed, who actually uses it, what content gets seen, and how it compares to another platform. So, Instagram first launched in 2010 as a simple photo sharing app. You take a picture, add a filter, and suddenly you're an artist. In 2014, there was a study by Manaconda, Who, and Kamban Patty, and they analysed how when people used Instagram early on, they found that it was mainly about visual self-expression and social interaction. So originally, pretty simple. This, however, started to shift once Meta acquired Instagram in 2012. And one of the biggest changes came in 2016 when Instagram introduced algorithmic ranking instead of showing posts in chronological order. And according to industry explanations from sites like Search Engine Journal, this meant users were now seeing content based on what they were most likely to engage with. This sounds helpful in theory, but it also means Instagram is deciding what you see. Since then, Instagram has added multiple features such as stories and reels, with reels clearly being designed to rival TikTok. A feature like this is really important as platforms like Instagram become especially relevant for things like gaming and esports content, because short, fast-paced clips fit perfectly into this kind of system. So while Instagram didn't start with esports in mind, it's definitely evolved into a space where that kind of content could thrive. Now, who actually uses Instagram when we look into it? Well, data from Statista shows that most users are between 18 and 34 years old, which is really important because that's also the core audience for gaming and esports in general. So for teams, players, and content creators, Instagram becomes a really effective way to reach that audience directly. But the platform doesn't just connect people, it also influences the way content is produced and uploaded. One study to support this is Cotter in 2019, where she talks about the visibility game. And the idea is that creators adjust their content based on what they think the algorithm will promote. So instead of just posting what they want, they're constantly thinking about what will perform well. And if you think about how that applies to things like gaming or esports content, it explains why you see a lot of short highlight clips, dramatic moments, and fast edits, instead of more longer and detailed content. Now the most important part, especially for organisations such as esports teams, the algorithm. And first of all, it's not just one algorithm. Instagram's head, Adam Mosseri, has explained that the platform actually uses multiple systems across different parts of the app, like the feed, stories, reels, all ranking content differently. So if something performs well in one place but not another, that is not random. That's the system and the algorithm working exactly as it's supposed to. And according to breakdowns from platforms like Sprout Social, these algorithms mainly look at things like engagement, watch time, and how users interact with the content. So whether it's a meme, a lifestyle post, or an esports clip, the platform is basically asking itself, will people engage with this? And if the answer is yes, it pushes it further. But the problem with this is that large content creators and content themes which are already big further get pushed into this algorithm, which gets them even more views. This leaves smaller creators struggling to be seen. So in turn, all this does is create a loop where high visibility creators just gain more visibility. And this is where Instagram starts to become less of a neutral platform and more of a system that actively shapes who succeeds. So once you understand how the algorithm works, the next question is, what does it actually do to the content that we see? Because it isn't exactly neutral. There's research by Bishop in 2021 that looks at how creators respond to algorithms, and the main idea is that people start shaping their content around what performs well. So instead of being original, creators tend to follow trends, repeat formats, and basically do whatever the algorithm seems to reward. This can explain why your feed might show the exact same video but in a slightly different format, whether that be a meme or just a simple trend. And then there's Bucher in 2018 who talks about something called the algorithmic imaginary. And this basically means that people are constantly trying to figure out how the algorithm works, even though they don't actually know. It plays a pretty big role across different areas, including things like gaming and esports. At a professional level, organizations and creators use Instagram mainly for branding. They post highlights, announcements, collaborations, basically anything that keeps their audience engaged. You can also see the way G2 uses Instagram by getting their players to partake in trends and short-form content reels. And this connects to research by Hamari and Sherblum in 2017, who looked at why people engage within esports. And one of their key findings is that people are drawn not just to the competition, but also to the entertainment and community. So platforms like Instagram are perfect for maintaining that connection outside of events and live streams. But this can apply more broadly too. Whether if it's influencers, businesses, or esports teams, everyone's using Instagram to stay visible and relevant. At the same time, at a smaller or non-professional level, people are also trying to grow their accounts, build audiences, and get noticed. And this is where algorithm becomes a problem, because success isn't just about the quality of the content, but it's also about how well it performs within the system. So even if someone posts an extremely impressive clip or esports highlight, it might not go anywhere if it doesn't immediately get engagement. Which once again shows that the platform doesn't just host content, but it also controls about where it goes. To really understand Instagram, it helps to compare it to other platforms, such as its main competitors, YouTube and TikTok. So TikTok works very differently. Instead of relying heavily on who you follow, it focuses more on discovery. Your content gets pushed out to a completely new audience through the For You page. There's one research by Kate, Chen and Zheng in 2021 which describes TikTok as the following: one of the fastest growing short video platforms in the world. And a big reason for that is how their algorithm works. It gives even small creators a chance to go viral incredibly quickly. But Instagram doesn't really do that in the same way. It still relies partly on your existing audience and engagement, which makes growth slower and less predictable. Then you've got YouTube, which takes a different approach again. YouTube's algorithm focuses more on long-term engagement, so videos can stay relevant for much longer instead of disappearing after a day or two like they often do on Instagram. So the best way to compare all three of these platforms: TikTok typically has stronger discovery and rapid growth, YouTube focuses on long-term visibility and stability, and Instagram is kind of in the middle. And not only is this including gaming and esports, but this applies to all content. So although clips might perform well on Instagram, a platform such as TikTok allows for that to be able to expand to a new audience much quicker if you don't already have one. So this means Instagram can work really well as a part of a strategy, but it cannot just be the main bit. Now, while it's important to know how the algorithm works and how to boost engagement, it's also important to know what laws and what regulations govern the platform. For example, there's a book by Gillespie in 2018 called The Custodians of the Internet, which looks at platform governance, and one of the key arguments is that platforms make active decisions about what content is visible, what gets removed, and what gets promoted. But it's not just internal platform decisions. A digital media platform such as Instagram is increasingly shaped by laws and regulations, especially around things like data protection, harmful content, and transparency. So, regulations like the EU's Digital Services Act are starting to require platforms to be a bit more transparent about how their algorithms work and how content is moderated. So Instagram isn't just deciding what content succeeds, and of course Instagram is collecting large amounts of user data to power these algorithms, things like behavior, interactions, and preferences. That in turn brings in legal frameworks such as GDPR, which is designed to protect user privacy and control how that data is used. Although this sounds reassuring, most users don't exactly know what their data is being used for to be able to produce their algorithms. This can in turn create tension between personalization, privacy, and platform control, which can directly affect all the creators as well. This then can create an argument which splits two different types of users, such as regulations meant to make their platforms fairer and safer, but on the other hand, platforms still prioritize engagement and profit, which can conflict with these goals. So overall, Instagram isn't just a social media platform. It's a regulated digital platform which balances business interests, legal responsibilities, and user expectations. This finally raises one of the biggest questions. Is Instagram actually rewarding the best content, or only the content that plays its algorithm the best?